Welcome to the Progressive Era, an age of dramatic social and political reform that reshaped American society in the early 20th century. From tackling corporate monopolies and fighting for workers' rights to improving public health and promoting social justice, the reformers of this era sought to address the many issues brought on by rapid industrialization and urbanization. But who were these reformers? And what were their biggest achievements? Let's dive in and explore the impact of the Progressive Era on America. To understand the Progressive Era, let's first look at the America that came before it. In the late 19th century, rapid industrial growth brought massive wealth to some, but it also left workers, immigrants, and the urban poor living in harsh conditions. Cities were overcrowded, factory work was dangerous, and corruption often ruled both politics and business. This disparity left many Americans questioning, is this the best we can do? The issues facing America were immense, but a new generation of reformers was ready to tackle them. They believed the government could play a positive role in improving society, a radical idea for the time. The progressive movement wasn't a single, organized effort, but a broad coalition of people from all walks of life who shared a common goal: reform. Progressives included journalists, social workers, political leaders, and ordinary citizens. They fought for various causes, from workers' rights and child labor laws to environmental conservation and women's suffrage. Despite their differences, the progressives were united by a shared belief that social and political change was possible and necessary. One of the most powerful tools of the progressive movement was the media. Journalists, known as muckrakers, used their platforms to expose corruption, poverty, and abuses in society. Through shocking reports, they brought public attention to issues that many had ignored. Jacob Riffius revealed the harsh lives of New York's poor, and Upton Sinclair's The Jungle exposed the filthy conditions in meatpacking plants. These stories sparked public outrage and led to calls for government action to protect the public and improve living conditions. The Progressive Era saw major strides in labor reform. Factory workers, including children, faced grueling conditions with little protection. Progressives campaigned for laws that would improve these conditions, limit working hours, and regulate child labor. One of the defining moments was the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911, where 146 workers, mostly young immigrant women, tragically died due to locked doors and lack of fire escapes. This event galvanized the labor movement, leading to stricter safety regulations and labor protections. While the Progressive Era covered many issues, the push for women's suffrage was among the most important. Women, like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Alice Paul fought tirelessly for the right to vote, arguing that true democracy could not exist without women's voices. Their efforts led to a nationwide movement, and after years of advocacy and protest, the 19th Amendment was ratified in 1920, granting women the right to vote. It was a landmark victory that reshaped American politics forever. The Progressive Era also saw the birth of the conservation movement, led by President Theodore Roosevelt, who believed America's natural beauty should be preserved for future generations. Under his administration, millions of acres were designated as national parks, forests, and monuments. Thanks to these efforts, sites like the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone remain protected today. The conservation legacy of the Progressive Era would influence environmental policy for decades to come. Progressives also turned their attention to big business, challenging the unchecked power of monopolies. Corporations like Standard Oil and U.S. Steel held vast control over industries, allowing them to stifle competition and influence politics. With leaders like Roosevelt and later President Taft, the government began enforcing antitrust laws, breaking up monopolies and promoting fair competition. The Sherman Antitrust Act was a key tool, aimed at curbing the influence of robber barons and leveling the playing field. The Progressive Era set the stage for many of the rights and protections we enjoy today. From workers' rights to environmental conservation and voting rights, these reforms laid the groundwork for a more equitable and democratic society. Though the Progressive Era had its limitations, such as limited inclusion of minorities in its reforms, its legacy lives on. As we face new challenges today, we can look back at this era for inspiration on how determined individuals and communities can make real, lasting change.